Courts dismiss case involving deaths of over 30 children at a 2024 Christmas funfair in Oyo State. On the foreign scene, Ukraine strikes major Russian strategic bomber airfield on Thursday, triggering huge fire. Good evening. This is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alagbe. We begin as the National Assembly has approved President Bola Tinubu's proclamation of a state of emergency in Rivers State, evoking its constitutional powers under the amended 1999 Constitution. The approval grants the President the authority to enforce emergency measures while mandating a review of the situation at any time, but no later than 6 months per the Constitution. The National Assembly has also imposed a joint committee of both chambers to oversee the administration of affairs in Rivers State during the emergency period. Additionally, the Senate has resolved to establish a mediation committee consisting of eminent Nigerians to help resolve the state's political crisis. Just like the Senate, the House of Representatives had earlier approved the President's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers. In a voice note, the 240 lawmakers who attended the plenary was presided over by Speaker Honorable Tajuddin Abbas backed President Tinubu's decision 2 days after President Tinubu made the move.
And seconded that the Senate proceedings 1 of Thursday, 20th day of March 2025 be approved. Those in support of this approval say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank all distinguished senators once again for their patriotism and their zeal to save Nigeria, and pray that the votes and proceedings and the content therein will bring lasting peace to Rivers State, and urge that all warring factions should shoot their swords and get ready to sit on a round table to bring peace to Rivers State in order to ensure that democracy continues.
Any more contributions? Any more contributions? So we put the question. Are we ready for the question? Are we ready? Those in support of this request of Mr. President as amended should say aye. Aye. Those in support of this request from Mr. President as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. There is have it.
In the meantime, the newly appointed sole administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibo Tete Ibaz, retired, has officially resumed duty. The former naval chief arrived at the Government House, Port Harcourt, at noon on Thursday, following a formal reception at the airport led by the Rivers State Head of Service, George Nwanke. He was accompanied by security heads, including the General Officer commanding the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army, the commander of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder, and the commander of the 115th Special Operations Group, Nigerian Air Force. Others were the Commissioner of Police, the Director of the Department of State Services, and the Director of Energy Security, Office of the National Security Advisor upon arrival. The administrator proceeded to the State Executive Council chambers, where he held a closed-door meeting with security heads, the heads of service, and department secretaries. Speaking to journalists after the meeting, the sole administrator noted that discussions were still ongoing with security heads, adding that the situation in the state appears calm. Ibas will be in charge of the state for 6 months after Tinubu suspended Governor Simlai Fubara, his deputy, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, owing to the unending political crisis in the state.
Thank you also for what you've been doing so far. You're all aware I just got in here and decided to meet with the head of service and the permanent secretaries and the service commanders. I'm going to have to meet with them to get the formal briefings from all those I met this afternoon. And then I believe it is only proper for me thereafter to have something to say to you all. And I assure you that perhaps later this evening I'll be in the right position to address you and then to address the issues that you may want to raise now. Port Harcourt is my city. Everything appears calm, and though I know that the situation is there, but we just want Port Harcourt to get back to the way it has always been.
Earlier, the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, along with his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, and other opposition leaders called on President Bola Tinubu to immediately revoke the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. Atiku, speaking on behalf of the opposition leaders at a news conference at Yaradua Center in Abuja, accused the president of favoritism and improper use of Section 103 regarding the state of emergency. The leaders called it an unconstitutional proclamation and called for the reinstatement of the elected governor, deputy governor, and the state assembly. It will be recalled that Rivers State has been engulfed in political instability for nearly 2 years, as former governor Nyesom Wike and his successor, Siminalayi Fubara, vie for supremacy, leading to a governance deadlock. As a result, the president on Tuesday declared a state of emergency in the state during a nationwide broadcast.
It's not only unlawful, but also a clear subversion of democracy and imposition of autocratic federal control over a duly elected state government. We strongly condemn this development and call on all Nigerians of good conscience to resist this brazen assault on the constitution of our country and the institutions of our democracy. This state of emergency declaration is not about security. It is about power grabbing and control in Rivers State. The disagreements within Rivers State stem from the defection of 27 assembly members from the PDP to the APC, their loss of seats under constitutional provisions, and the subsequent political maneuvering to undermine the governor's mandate. Rather than allowing the law to take its course, the federal government has engineered a crisis to justify this obviously premeditated and brazenly cynical and unconstitutional action. We find the federal government excuse of pipeline vandalism quite untenable and even laughable. The security of national infrastructure falls squarely under the responsibilities of federal security agencies and privately contracted security firms. We call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately revoke this unconstitutional proclamation and reinstate the elected governor, deputy governor, and state assembly of Bokun.
No legislation or constitutional amendment has changed that, so that is the law. No one, no person or authority can remove an elected official, whether governor, deputy governor, or member of the legislature, without going through the due process of law. In the case of governor, by impeachment. In the case of legislators, through recall. Those are the only ways you can remove an elected person. You cannot tamper with the mandate of the people under Section 305 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court has spoken, and it's very, very clear. What President Tinubu has done is violently unconstitutional and unlawful.
Still with the Rivers crisis, the Rivers Elders and Leaders Forum has strongly opposed the federal government's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, calling it unfair, unjust, and unconstitutional. The chairman of the forum, Rufus Adajo, stated this on Thursday while presenting the group's stance on the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers as well as the suspension of Governor Simlai Fubara, his deputy, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. It criticized President Bola Tinubu's decision to suspend the governor, his deputy governor, and all state lawmakers for 6 months. The group urged that the move disappropriately targeted the governor while ignoring the alleged role of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, in the escalating tensions. The group further called for Wike's suspension, stating that if the governor and the lawmakers are facing a 6-month suspension, it was only fair and just that the minister should also face a similar 6-month suspension. Also speaking on behalf of the group, Anab Sarah Ibe noted that the forum is worried about Governor Fubara's safety, as they presently do not know his whereabouts.
President to single out Sim Fubara and the honorable members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for suspension without taking any disciplinary action on his minister, Chief Nyesom Wike, for gross public misconduct is a clear miscarriage of justice, and it is condemnable. If Governor Fubara and the lawmakers are facing a 6-month suspension, it is only fair and just that Chief Barrister Wike, the Minister of FCT, should also face a similar 6-month suspension. This move will ensure that justice is served and that all parties involved in the unfortunate crisis are held accountable for their actions. The President's portrayal of Governor Sam Fubara as non-compliant, while disregarding the misconduct of the 27 House Assembly members, is misleading and unfair.
The whereabouts of Simlai Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, is unknown to Rivers State. He has not spoken to anybody. We have not seen him. We are demanding that Fubara should come on television if he's alive, because we can observe that Nyesom Wike can go any length, and Mr. President is backing him. They can do anything to this young man. We want Rivers to demand to know his whereabouts and to know what is.
Moving on, the Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Department has confirmed that 10 persons have died in the truck explosion that occurred near Karu Bridge along the Abuja-Kefi Expressway on Wednesday. The firm's head of public affairs, Nkechi Issa, confirmed the numbers in a statement on Thursday afternoon. The acting director general of the emergency department, Abdul Rahman Mohammed, earlier confirmed that 8 persons had died as of this morning, with 5 confirmed dead on the scene and 4 others burnt beyond recognition. However, in a statement, Mrs. Issa said the department's head for custom response and mitigation, Mark Nyam, said 8 bodies were deposited at the Karu Hospital morgue, 1 body at Asokoro Extinct Hospital morgue, while another body was deposited at the National Hospital. She disclosed that some victims had been referred to the Gwangwalada Teaching Hospital, Federal Medical Center, Kefi, and City Crest Hospital, Abuja, for proper care. To security matters, military head command has reiterated that the armed forces of Nigeria will not fold its arms and allow any individual or group of individuals to destroy the country's critical national assets. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcos Kanye, stated this while briefing newsmen on the operations of the military across the country in the Thursday in Abuja. This followed the recent incidents of explosion on some crude oil pipelines in Rivers. General Kenge said the military had been in the forefront of protecting the nation's oil installation in the Niger Delta, adding that the commanding officers were focused on achieving the mandate. General Kinge further revealed that troops of Operation Delta Safe had in the last 1 week foiled oil theft in the South region. In Katsina State, the State Police Command foiled a kidnap attempt on Gidang Zuma village in the Sabwa local government area of the state on Wednesday. The State Public Relations Officer, DSP Abubakar Sadiq, made this known in a statement on this afternoon. He disclosed that the armed men stormed the area on motorcycles wielding weapons such as AK-47 rifles, attempting to block Inon Federal Road in the village while attempting to kidnap unsuspecting commuters. He stated that the swift and decisive response of police operatives led by the DPO Paskari Divisional Police Headquarters thwarted the bandits' plan, leading to a fierce gunduel. He further noted that the bandits were forced to flee the scene with various degrees of gunshot injuries, adding that efforts are being intensified to arrest the fleeing suspects. In the court, a high court sitting in Ibadan has dismissed the case involving the death of over 30 children at a 2024 Christmas funfair that took place at Bashoru, Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Justice Ladinran Akintola, who gave the judgment, cleft the estranged wife of the Oni of Ife, Queen Naomi Uriyomi Hamzat, and school principal Abdullahi Fasasi of all charges, according to the state prosecutor and the attorney general of the state, Abiodun Aikomo. The case was withdrawn after affected families showed empathy towards the defendants and requested its withdrawal. He confirmed that some families had received compensation and seized documents had been returned. The defendants were initially charged over the funfair tragedy that claimed the lives of over 30 minors who died as a result of the stampede that ensued at the funfair venue. Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja, has rejected the additional proof of evidence brought by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, in his alleged procurement fraud trial. Delivering ruling in a motion on notice filed by Emefiele to object to the action of the EFCC, Justice Hamzat Maizu held that the commissions had on February 12, 2024 first filed additional proof of evidence against the former CBN governor to accommodate the evidence of a former secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and one Bamayi Haruna Meiriga. The judge, who noted that the charge against Emefiele was filed since August 14, 2023, and his plea taken on November 16, 2023, said that the action of the EFCC would amount to denial of fair trial, as the former CBN chief was not confronted with the new evidence during investigation as required by law. Justice Mayazu further added that the action of anti-graft agency mounted to trial by ambush and a clear case of fishing for evidence in the trial that commenced since November 28, 2023. You're watching news at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, commuters stranded as fallen containers paralyze movement on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We will bring you more on this when we return.